Hey, welcome back to my channel, or if you're a new viewer, well, hello. This might be a very interesting video for your first video. So, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you're somebody that's been here with my channel for a long time, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you all, and I'm just glad to still be filming and glad that you're here watching. So, today's video is going to be chatting. I'm going to apply a full face while chatting with you a little bit. We're going to talk about some more developments with the health stuff that I've been kind of keeping you all in the loop on, if you all care. I'm going to chat a little bit about my makeup journey and just where I'm at with that right now, because it's changed dramatically from when I first started this channel. Just some things that I've come to realize just in life in general. It's just going to be a very chatty get ready with me. I have a lot I want to chat about. So hello, how are we doing? I have missed you all so very much. I can't even articulate how much I've missed you, how much I just miss filming and just chatting with you all in my comment section. I know I've said it 100 times over, but it is absolutely my favorite thing about having a YouTube channel, and it always has been. And I just miss you all. I feel like, you know, you all are my friends, and maybe that's a little delusional, okay? But I consider you all my friends, and I just really miss chatting with you all. So, for that, I apologize. I know you all are going to tell me not to, but I do. I'm using the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer, by the way, if anybody cares. I just really, really miss chatting with you all and talking makeup, you know, playing with makeup. I really haven't had the opportunity to do that a whole lot. Well, that's a lie. It's not that I haven't had the opportunity. I haven't felt like it. I haven't felt like doing much of anything. So, I said this the last video, but I really don't want this entire video to be about nothing other than my health issues. In the last video, that's pretty much what the entire video was about, but I do want to at least update you all and just give some insight into what I'm dealing with. You know, as I've said before, I'm using the Becca Under Eye Corrector, by the way. This is Holy Grail status. I use it every time I do my makeup. It just helps to keep the under eyes nice and moisturized, and it color corrects. Anyhow, I've been very candid with you all in terms of my health and how I've been feeling, you know, different doctor's visits I've had, and how it hasn't been successful, how frustrated I've been, the lack of a diagnosis. Like, it has been an absolute roller coaster for the last 3 years, and it's finally gotten to a point where we're finally figuring out at least some of what's happening, and there's a lot happening in the next few months that I'm a little nervous about, but I'm also ready for. So I don't want to rehash everything that's been going on for the last 3 years, because we'd be here for the next 6 hours, but just to kind of give a really quick, brief rundown, before we do the brief rundown, let's really quickly go over the foundations I'm using. I don't ever use just one foundation. I always use a little cocktail. I have probably 50 foundations sitting over here, but I do use them, so I like to mix them together. I've got the NARS Radiant Longwear, my Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. I'm mixing in some of the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. This is good to make things glowy. And also the Pretty Fresh from ColourPop. Oh, there we go. I'm going to mix those together and keep chatting. Back in 2019, I was in school. I had started a new position at work. There was a lot going on, and I was super stressed out. And all of a sudden, I got really, really sick. And I was having these really weird stomach episodes where they would trigger heart palpitations and a racing heart. I would feel like I was going to faint. My stomach would be really jacked up. I wouldn't be able to hardly eat anything, and I was really backed up. Like, there was a lot happening, and it was really freaking me out. So I ended up going to a lot of doctor's appointments. I don't want to go into too much detail just for sake of time, but between my primary care doctor, a cardiologist, and a gastroenterologist, I had an upper scope done where they put the little thing down your throat, they look in your stomach. They said everything looked fine. It looked like I had maybe a mild case of gastritis, which is just inflammation of your stomach. And they pretty much diagnosed me with severe acid reflux, which from day one, I didn't think that's what it was. I knew that there was things aggravating my stomach and whatnot, and that might be a symptom of something else happening, but I didn't think that was like the root cause of my issues. It just didn't make sense to me. There's been so much that's happened over the last few years that I almost can't remember everything. It's been very overwhelming, and my symptoms and the way I've been feeling has kind of morphed over time, because at first it just kind of started out as these little random episodes. I got really, really sick at first, and I ended up being, you know, basically bedridden for a couple weeks. It was that bad. And then I got a little bit better, and then I would have a really bad episode that would last a month, and then I would get a little bit better. And same thing, and that just kind of repeated itself for a while. And then finally, just over the past like 8 months or so, well, actually the past year, it's gotten to the point where I have symptoms on a daily basis now. And again, it's kind of morphed. Like before I was having these really crazy episodes, it was triggering panic attacks. Like it was very overwhelming. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that when I would go to my doctors, and I don't want to say all of them, but between like being at the ER for these crazy episodes, my primary care doctor telling me that, it was just basically GERD. It's not like, here's some Prilosec, it's GERD, whatever. And then the ER doctors treating me like I was losing my shit. And to the point where like they would roll their eyes when I would go in there. I've seen that happen. Or just kind of brushing me off and sending me on my way. I've had that happen. So it got to the point where I started to question, is a lot of this in my head, you know? And I knew that it wasn't because of the way my body felt. Like I knew I wasn't completely losing it. But when you go to literally, like over the past 3 years, I've probably been to at least 50 or more doctor's appointments, and it's probably on the upper end of that. And when there's quite a few of them that treat you like you're overreacting almost, or like it's just something simple like GERD, and here's all these acid reducing medications and that should fix the problem. Like, no, it didn't. It actually made me really sick. Without dragging this out too long, over the past year I've had 2 trips to the ER where they did CT scans, and I talked about this in another video, but they saw, number one, I was like super backed up, which means my body can't eliminate waste properly, which I could have told them. I mean, we already knew that. But the other piece to that was I had a growth on my left ovary, and a big enough growth that it needs removed. So I've tried to coordinate all these doctor's appointments between a cardiologist, a gastroenterologist, my primary care doctor, my gynecologist. Like, it's just been so overwhelming and so much to try to get some answers, and I've learned a little bit over the last couple months. So on the CT scan I had an enlarged liver, what they thought was an enlarged liver. I had the growth on my left ovary. I was really backed up, you know. That was like their main concerns. So I ended up having a scan of my liver done in October, and I think it was October. I don't know. I can't keep things straight anymore. And I was told that that looked fine. Not by the radiologist, but by my primary care doctor. They read the results and said, well, according to the results, it looks fine. And I'm thinking, well, why would the radiologist that looked at my CT scan say that it was enlarged then, you know? And she said, well, that's just the diagnostic terminology they use to order the liver scan. Okay, so I shouldn't question the doctors, but I do, because I haven't exactly had the best results there. So anyway, I was told that the liver was fine. No lesions or anything like that. That's wonderful news. My enzymes came back good. So, you know, I'm trying not to stress about the liver situation. Okay, now that I have all the foundation on, let's put some concealer down real quick. This video is going to be so all over the place, and it's kind of how my brain's been here lately, just kind of jumpy from one thing to the next, and it's hard for me to stay on topic, and it's hard for me to get out exactly what it is I want to talk about, so I'm just apologizing in advance here. Okay, for concealer, I'm going to use a mixture of my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This one is my favorite. I use it every day. I love it. It's not super drying, but it's got a lot of coverage. And I'm going to mix that with the Mackie Complete. I don't know if that's how you say it, from Lancome. I bought this a while ago, and I just really don't care for it, but I'm trying to use it, so we're going to do a little mixing action here. I had to schedule a colonoscopy. That's going to happen the second week of December. Super nervous about that, because honestly, it's the prep that I'm concerned about. I could care less about the actual procedure. I'm worried about the prep, because anything that irritates my intestines, anything that irritates my digestive system, makes me really, really ill. And I have those crazy episodes with my heart. I feel like I'm going to faint, and I have palpitations, and it's a whole ordeal, and I'm terrified. So I'm really trying not to let my anxiety get the better of me when it comes to that, because that'll make things worse, and I already know that. But I'm scared, y'all. I'm scared that I'm going to end up, especially because I have to take like 6 Dulcolax pills for this prep. The last time I took one, and I had an episode, and that was like 2 years ago, so I'm very nervous about that. What was I saying? It's terrible. Oh yeah, the colonoscopy. But that needs to happen to make sure there's not something going on internally with my intestines and whatever that's causing the digestive symptoms. Who knows at this point what it is. So that's happening, and then I also had a pap test and a mammogram done, and a transvaginal ultrasound done, which is where they stick the wand in there and they look around, because I had that tumor on my ovary anyway. We had to get some clarification on, you know, how big it is, what it looks like, and, you know, I also had a benign mass in my, well, what they thought was a benign mass in my left breast back in 2016. I had a mammogram done in 2016, and I had another one done in 2019. Both scans, they said it was benign. So with this last visit, I had a mammogram done. The tech said she thought she saw something, and they already knew there was a mass there from the prior study and from, you know, me telling them about it. But she thought she saw something that looked suspicious on it, so she sent it up to the radiologist right away to see if he would want like additional imaging while I was already there. And while we were waiting on that answer, I went and had the ultrasound of my, you know, abdomen. And as I was having that done, the mammogram tech came in and said that while I was already having the ultrasound of my abdomen, they wanted to do an ultrasound of the left breast as well. So right there I knew that it didn't look good in terms of like, they must see something or they wouldn't want to do that. So they did the ultrasound of the abdomen, the ultrasound of my left boob. Then the radiologist wanted me to have another mammogram imaging of my left boob, which I don't know if y'all have ever had a mammogram before. Let me tell you what, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but that shit is not comfortable, okay? I have this is going to be TMI, but I have very tender boobs, okay? And it's, not to mention, I don't have a whole lot to work with, so it was so bad that when I got done, like when I came home, I felt like I had internal bruising. I know I probably sound like I'm being dramatic, but from like pulling and pushing me into the machine, I felt like I had internal bruising. It was that bad. It was so sore I could barely put a bra on for like 3 or 4 days. So anyhow, after having all that done, they confirmed, yes, I have the growth on my left ovary. It needs removed. So my gynecologist thinks that it's a dermoid cyst or tumor, and those aren't typically cancerous. They can be, but not usually. So that's what they think it is. And with the breast ultrasound and the breast mammogram, it came back, well, first of all, it was very conflicting. I got paperwork from the hospital saying that it was there's like a rating, I guess, a 1 through 5. 1 is like, everything's perfect, it's benign, nothing to worry about. 2 is like, 3 is like, okay, maybe. 4 is like, it's suspicious, like, I don't know like what it's actually called. But I was rated a 1 on this paperwork, okay? Well, when I went into my chart online, because I have access to that online, the ultrasound I guess the mammogram was rated a 1. The ultrasound was rated a 4, which is suspicious. So I followed up with my gynecologist with both things, with the abdominal stuff. There's just so much shit going on. Okay, before I keep going, because there's more to tell, I've been using the KVD ModCon liquid gel, contour gel, every day before work. I love this stuff so much. I've heard very mixed opinions on this. Some people say they absolutely hate it. I love this stuff. I've also been using cream blush a lot, which is bizarre because I never thought I would. I bought a lot of it, and then I forced myself to use it, and I fell in love. I'm not exactly using a cream blush today. Well, I guess kind of. I'm using the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand from Charlotte Tilbury. This one's in Pinkgasm. And then I also pulled out my Pillow Talk Beauty Light Wand, which is a highlighter. I don't know why I said it like that. So let's go ahead and continue on here. So when I followed up with my gynecologist, I learned a little bit more about my female issues. Stuff that I didn't know before. She said I have what's called adenomyosis, which is when the lining to your uterus grows into the muscle wall and it causes inflammation, it can cause pain, it can cause heavy bleeding, it can cause a lot of nasty symptoms, and it makes complete sense because I have horrific periods, very, very heavy bleeding. The last period that I had was so painful, I was almost in tears, and just based on the ultrasound, like that's all they could see. They don't know if there's anything more to that, but my uterus is enlarged. It said that the myometrium was coarse, which is I think it's the outside lining or the muscle. I don't know. There's a lot of terminology, and I'm not very good with that stuff. So anyhow, that's going on. And then, of course, the tumor or the dermoid cyst or whatever the hell it is on my left ovary. So she goes, you know, we're already going to have to remove the cyst or the tumor, the dermoid, while we're in there because you have adenomyosis, and that's not something that's going to go away. It just gets worse over time. She said, and because, you know, you're 39 years old and you don't want any more children, I'm going to recommend that we do a hysterectomy. And I said, can we do it now? Can we do it right now? So here's the thing with that. Yes, I have adenomyosis, but there's nothing ruling out endometriosis either. They won't know that until they get in and look around. So she wants to do a laparoscopic hysterectomy, which is when they just do the two tiny incisions or 3, I don't know how many incisions, but it's not like the cut you side to side type of hysterectomy. So she said when they do the laparoscopic hysterectomy, they're going to look around for other things as well. And if they see endometriosis, they'll have to adjust, you know, change course a little bit, and they'll treat that as well while they're in there. So I just feel like there's more going on in there than what they think, or the adenomyosis is really bad. Because I've had all of these digestive issues for the last 3 years, and you know, of course I have this colonoscopy in December, so that'll tell if it's actually from just the digestive system, or if there's something causing it, you know? But I just feel like once I have the hysterectomy, some of those digestive issues are going to get better. At least I am really, really praying, because it's just been pure misery, and I'm tired of being scared to eat things. I'm tired. I don't want to go overboard with this. This looks really nice, though. I love this stuff. I'm tired of not knowing day to day how I'm going to feel. Some days I feel completely wiped. I have zero energy. I can barely get out of bed. And you know, that stuff can be caused from the adenomyosis because it causes heavy bleeding, and I'm pretty sure I'm anemic as well because of all of that. They haven't actually said that to me, but it's the only thing that I can infer when it comes to why I'm so dizzy all the time. Not all the time, but at times why I'm so dizzy and unsteady, and I feel like I'm going to pass out, and just overall feel so wiped out, and like I just have zero energy. And that would make a lot of sense. So when they did my blood work at the hospital, the last time I went, when I had the second CT scan done, my red blood cell count was really low. And when I looked at the timing, it was right at the end of my period. So it kind of makes me feel like it's because of blood loss. It's because of the heavy bleeding and that maybe I'm anemic. You know what I mean? I hate that I have to make my own inferences about this kind of stuff. Like, I feel like I don't want to shit talk all doctors, okay? Not all doctors are bad, and everybody has different experiences, but I feel like if they were being thorough enough, this is something that I would already know, okay? Because I've been to the doctor so many times, it's completely ridiculous. Yeah. Is that everything? I just have a lot going on. I've got, like, when I look at the next 2 months, I didn't tell you. So, I got off on a tangent talking about the uterus and that kind of stuff. I didn't finish telling you about my, the suspicious mass in my boob. So because it's suspicious, and because there was also a enlarged lymph node near that mass, they're going to do a needle core biopsy of the mass. And I'm a little worried about that too. They don't put you to sleep for it. They just, I guess, put some lidocaine in there, or whatever it is they use to numb it. And then they extract some of the cells from the mass. So, I'm a little nervous about that, and just because of how bad I've felt over the last 3 years, I'm nervous. Like, who's to say it's not breast cancer, you know? So, when I found out all of this, like all of it, I found out I had to have a hysterectomy, I found out I have to have a breast biopsy, there's just so much, and it's all happening, like, right now. I was so overwhelmed. I kind of broke down for an evening. You can't beat this. Look at this. It looks so good. I feel like I didn't tell all this in a very fluid way, so I'm sorry. I'm really trying hard to make it make sense, especially to those of you that maybe this is new, or maybe you just didn't know about this stuff. Not that I really need to explain all of my health crap, but you know what? I'm not the only one dealing with stuff, and I'm sure some of you watching have gone through something similar, or maybe you're going to go through something similar, and I feel like it's just nice to know that you're not alone, and, you know, that we can all kind of come together as a community and be there for one another. And I think that sometimes we're afraid to talk about things that are going on like that because it makes us look weak, or especially in my professional life, like at work, I was afraid to admit that I was having a hard time and that I was dealing with a lot of health issues, because I know sometimes that's frowned upon, especially in my position where I'm in management, you know. Let's get into the blush. I hope I didn't forget anything. I've just been kind of like zooming through here. Again, I have the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm, Beauty Light Wand, and Pinkgasm. If you all were here with me over the summertime, or if you watched my last Chatty Get Ready with me, where I talked about just my mental breakdown and the physical stuff, and I was in a very, very scary place mentally back in August, okay? Actually, before that. Just with everything going on with my health and how terrible I was feeling all the time, am feeling all the time. I don't want to make it sound like I've gotten better, because by no means am I better. But it was worse then, and I don't know if that's because I was also just doing poorly mentally. It was making things worse. But it was really, really bad, and I think what kind of amplified that is the fact that I couldn't get anyone to take me seriously. Like, I was feeling like I was losing my mind. There was so much that had to happen just so I could get the testing done, and like before I could get the colonoscopy, I had to have my heart cleared because of all those stupid heart symptoms I was having. So I had to do that. That happened in September, you know, and then the next colonoscopy that I could schedule wasn't until December. That was the quickest they could get me in. So, I've just been kind of waiting to have that done, and, you know, while I'm waiting for all of that, I'm finding out all this other crazy shit about my uterus, and, you know, I mean, now I've got this mass, this, what could be, you know, I don't want to think that, well, it could be cancer, but this lump in my boob that's suspicious, and now there's just so much. There's so much happening at one time. I feel like I'm just all over the place, and I've already apologized for it, but I can't really even think straight. Like, there's so much happening, and it's happening quickly, and it's just overwhelming. But I gotta say, I'm in a much better headspace now than I was in August, which is crazy since I've actually found out some pretty terrifying things. But the fact that, like, my feelings about what's going on in my body are now validated, because they weren't before, you know? It was like, I just felt like I wasn't being taken seriously enough. And especially at the ER, you know, I saw a nurse roll her eyes at me. I got dismissed the second time I went in there. So, yeah, I was so stressed out. And, you know, I ended up taking a medical leave from work because of the anxiety, because of the terrible physical state that I was in during that time. It was really, really bad. So I took 2 months to kind of recuperate, and this was before I found out exactly what's going on, the stuff that I just shared with you. And the last video I made is about that, but it was just not a good time at all. And I just think it's crazy how I'm not mentally suffering as bad now as I was then. And that just speaks volumes about, I don't know, like what it can do to somebody when you're made to feel like everything's in your head, you know, or not everything, because I feel like some doctors took me seriously, but when you're basically made to feel like you're exaggerating, or like you're a hypochondriac almost, like that's kind of how it made me feel. It made me feel like, am I blowing this out of proportion? Am I not feeling as bad as I think I'm feeling? Like, that's a really scary place to be in when you have to question those things, because when you're so convinced that something is wrong, I know my body, I know that what I'm feeling is not right, it's not normal, and it's getting worse. Like, when you know that about your situation, but your doctors are making you feel like that's not the case, or like it's just not a priority, or it's not that big of a deal, it makes you feel like you're losing your mind. And that is how I started to feel. So when I went out on my leave in August, I had to do some serious therapy because I was not okay. I was having panic attacks almost daily. And I'm talking full-fledged panic attacks to the point where I thought I was going to have a heart attack. So I just think it sucks that it affected my mental health to that degree when I was right all along. There is a lot of shit going on. God, I love that stuff. I think I went overboard, but it's cool because we're gonna powder anyway. So if there's one little lesson that I've learned that I can kind of bestow upon my my community here, it's advocate for yourself. And if you know deep in your heart something's wrong, if you know in your body that something doesn't feel right, don't sit with it, do something about it, and don't stop until they listen to you. Because what if I would have just said screw it and just stopped seeking help? Because that's what I did, okay? At the beginning of all this bullshit in 2019, when they told me it was just GERD, when that's how they made me feel, like that's all it was, at the beginning of this, I brushed it aside because I was made to feel like I was overreacting. You know, after I had my EGD, which is the scope they put down your throat, after I had that and they told me that it was basically nothing, a little bit of inflammation, but that was it, I kind of gave up on trying to figure out what was going on for a little while, because it made me feel like that it was in my head. It made me feel like I was losing my mind. So my recommendation to you all is, and I knew that it wasn't that. Like, I knew deep down there was something wrong. But when you have medical professionals making you feel like it's just you, nope, it's in your head, you're fine, we see your scan and it's fine, like, what are you supposed to think, you know? So I just feel this sense of peace now, almost like I didn't at first, okay? It was really, really, really hard at first for me to accept, because I don't know what this test is going to say. And you know what? When they take out my uterus and that growth on my ovary, there's no saying that that's not cancer. I don't know. We don't know what it is until they take it out and they look at it. So I can't let my brain go there, you know? Like, what's the point in stressing about that and spending time obsessing over that and worrying when it's not going to do me any good? What's going to happen is going to happen regardless. That's radical acceptance. My therapist taught me that, which I was not able to do over the summer, by the way. I was not radically accepting anything. If anything, I was not accepting, okay? All right, we need to move on because I'm just rambling now. I had to take a quick break and get a snack, and in doing that, I also did a couple things. So let me catch you up to speed really quickly, and then we'll what? I was going to say configure, and I really don't know why. We'll continue this video. I ended up taking, let's see, I showed you the Pinkgasm Glow Wand, or whatever the hell it's called. Then I took the Pillow Talk Beauty Light Wand, which is a highlighter, and that's that sheen you see. It is so beautiful. I feel like a glowy goddess. I love that, okay? And then after that, I went over top with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Setting Powder and Cupcake, just to lightly set. I didn't do like heavy baking. I just lightly set with a floofy brush. I don't know what I did with it, but that's what I've done so far. I need to do the brows. I probably should have done that before hopping back on camera because I really don't want to have to chat while I'm doing my brows. Let me get brows on, and then I'll be right back. Every time I do the brows, I question my makeup skills. They look terrible. We need to do something with the eyes. So the one category of makeup, if you will, that I've been purchasing over the last like 6 months, because really I haven't really been buying much of anything, but the one area I've actually been buying from is eyeshadow. Eyeshadow, I have a very soft spot for. I love a beautiful palette. I love the color stories. You know, when a color story really speaks to me, I have a hard time saying no, especially if it's one of my favorite brands like Natasha Denona. I really, really adore single eyeshadows, Terra Moon's Cleona. I just love the sparkly, shiny, shifty. You all already know that about me. So those are the two areas, singles and eyeshadow palettes, that I've been purchasing from the most. I really don't think I've picked up anything else in terms of makeup. I have not really been in a good headspace, and makeup has kind of been the furthest thing from my mind, so it's kind of sad, honestly. You know, I would like to have something to distract me, and makeup is kind of my therapy. It's my happy place. But with everything else going on, makeup has kind of been like the low man on the totem pole in terms of priority. So I'm going to share with you really quickly the things I've picked up over the last few months, since I haven't had the opportunity to share those with you. And then I'll decide what I'm going to do with the eyes, because I have no idea at this point. We're just kind of flying by the seat of my pants right now. So the first set of products I want to share with you are ones that I didn't actually purchase. They were sent to me. I'm supposed to be posting about them on Instagram. I just haven't done that yet because, you know, I'm a terrible person. So this is the JVN Complete Blowout Styling Milk. I've only used it once, so I don't have a full opinion on how I feel about it, but I'm going to keep using it. I have the Complete Conditioning Mist. Again, I've only used it once. And then I also have the Complete Nourishing Shine Drops, which I have not used yet. So I do need to post about them on Instagram. Once I get a little bit more use out of them, I will do that. That's the only thing that I have that is not eyeshadow related. Alright, the first palette I'm sharing with you is the Huda Beauty Empowered. And I love her bigger palettes like this. I think they're really beautiful, kind of iconic, you know what I mean? Like, look how pretty the color story is. So beautiful. I believe I've only used this twice, and it was to go to work. Haven't used it here on the channel for you all, so I would make a promise and say that I'll use that for you in the future, but I've learned to stop doing that because I'm not filming that much, and I don't want to let everybody down. I also picked up the Gourmand Girls Spooked palette right around Halloween. Like, look how pretty this color story is. She is gorgeous. There's a couple of multi-chromes, or duochromes, rather. I just love it. I love that color story, and the shadows are top-notch quality. I also grabbed the Bella Beauty Bar Strange and Unusual palette because I love Beetlejuice. Look at this palette, though, would you? This has multi-chromes, mattes, duochromes, sparklies. It is a stunning palette. I've swatched these a million times. I don't think I've actually put them on the eyes, though. Yeah. Next up, I picked up the Retro Glam palette from Natasha Denona, and I had every intention, ooh, almost dropped it. I had every intention on doing a dedicated video to this, and then I didn't, because I haven't really been filming anything. But she's a beautiful palette. I've used this, I think, twice now to go to work. I also picked up the Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics, and I had to have this one because, well, look at those beautiful sparkly shadows. Beautiful palette. Haven't played with it. I just got that one like 2 weeks ago, though, so. Last but not least, I picked up two palettes from Unearthly Cosmetics. I have the Weirdos. Now, I will just give a little preface here, there's a couple shades in here that are really, really not good. And the brand already knows they're supposed to be sending out replacement shades for those. This one up here in the corner is so hard pressed. Like, I don't know if you could hear that. Listen. How dry that sounds. And even still, like nothing. That's it. There's literally nothing on my finger. It's a dud. It's a total dud. And then the one down here, it's crazy how it looks green because there's actually a red reflect when you're looking at it like in person. But it's super wet. I don't know if I can get you to see it here. Like it leaked into the shadows around it. Not the shadows, but the cardboard. Like you see the darker cardboard around that shade. Little spots. Huh. Anyway, they're supposed to be replacing those two shades. I think it's a beautiful palette. I just think there was some quality issues with the shadows. And then I also grabbed the So Strange. And this one, there's such just beautiful shades in here. Beautiful, beautiful. Like this one here. What? So pretty. Anyway, you know me. I love a good colorful eyeshadow palette. So I grabbed those. And then I had also grabbed some of the Cliona shadows, which I shared with you in my last video. So check that out if you want to see my Cliona collection. And then I picked up new shades from Terra Moons. And I don't have them separated because I'm anal about the way I organize things. And everything's organized by color. Whoops. So this is all my new and existing shades. But I picked up 10 more recently. So they're all like intermingled in here. But would you look how beautiful this palette is? Like that just makes me drool looking at it. She's so pretty. I am going to do another video where I swatch all of my Terra Moons as well. Okay, what am I going to do with the eyeballs today? It's got to be something quick. It's getting late and I've got a lot to do tomorrow. So the Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics, there's just something about it that's calling to me. I don't have a whole lot of time to do anything elaborate or, you know, too crazy. So I really, really want to play with this. There's 2 mattes in here. Makes it super simple. And then this shade right here, these 2, they're all beautiful and stunning, don't get me wrong. The other ones are they're very shimmery and a little bit textured, like you can feel, I don't want to say grittiness, but kind of, like a very little bit. These 2 are very smooth and silky and buttery and shifty, and I much more prefer like that silky, smooth texture. Can I show you the shade Selena, which is this one right here? Can I just show you? If I can get it. It's a terrible swatch. Hold on. You all really need to see this because it is. Wow. Look at this shadow. Oh, you can't see it all. I'm going to stand up a little bit. Hold on. Look at that. What? Oh my goodness. And you can't even see half of it. On my side, it's bright green and pink. You got that taupey shade. It's beautiful. So anyway, I'm going to take the 2 mattes and blend those out and then put that over top. That's what I'm doing while I finish chatting. I've already put down an eye primer. I use the NARS eyeshadow base. Fantastic base. So with everything that's been going on with my health, and as terrible as it was in the summertime, it's just been a huge relief knowing that, like I said before, my feelings have been validated, and I spent so much time stressing and worrying and making myself even more sick because I just felt like I had zero control. Now I actually feel like I have a little bit of control over the situation. I'm doing what I need to get testing done. I have procedures coming up. Like I'm actually finally getting somewhere. So just that alone makes me feel a little bit more at ease, and it makes me feel like I have just a little bit more control. So I just finally got to the place where I've accepted, like I used to be very terrified of death. Like what if something happens and, you know, I die and like who's going to look after my kids? And I obsessed over that, and that was a big, big fear for me for a long time, especially when they were younger, because I was all they had for, a period of time. So now that they're a little bit older, and now that I've kind of gone through this, honestly, this traumatic time in my life, now that I've gone through that, I just feel like I've spent so much time worrying and ruining the current moment because I'm stressing about the future. So I don't want to do that anymore, you know? Life is short regardless of what's going on in your life. And I feel like this has been a huge wake-up call for me. And in saying all of that, I swear I'm going to put eyeshadow on my eyes. Let's first start off with Maria. That's that darker shade. I'm going to put that in my crease and then buff it out with the shade above that, which is Toya. Can you not make noise right now? Hey, no, we're not doing that. Starting off with a packer brush for that shade Maria. But anyway, now that, like, I know more about what's going on and now that I have a plan, in terms of the here and now, I don't want to worry about that right now. Like, as of right now, ignorance is bliss. There's nothing I can do to change the outcome of those test results. And other than try to take care of myself. So there's no sense in me stressing about it and losing sleep over it and ruining every single waking moment that I have from now leading up till then. And the same thing is true just in general when it comes to life. Like, why sit around stressing about the unknown and stressing about things that haven't even happened yet? Life is short anyway, even if you don't have all these external things going on. Like, anything can happen. I mean, seriously, accidents, illnesses, like, things happen sometimes. And I guess it really put things into perspective for me. And I don't want to waste my life stressing and being anxious about everything. And I don't know. It really makes you value life a little bit more and makes you appreciate the time you do have when you realize that some shit might be going down. And I'll just leave it there. I don't want to be morbid about it, but I don't know. It's really had me put things into perspective lately in terms of what's important and what really isn't, and what I should be prioritizing. And that's one of the reasons that my YouTube channel has really taken a back seat, because while I love it, I love having you all to chat with, and I love filming, and I love playing with makeup. Besides the fact that I'm exhausted all the time, and sometimes I literally cannot bring myself to do anything. Besides all that, do I want to spend hours, you know, filming and editing and stuff when I could be hanging out with my kids or taking care of myself or whatever? So I've really tried to be smart about that as well, and that's why you all haven't really seen much from me over the past 6 months, because there's been a lot of shit going on, and I'm really trying to prioritize what's most important right now, and my family's at the top of that, you know? This is a nice matte, by the way. I am going to blow it out with that lighter shade, but she's pretty. I like it. And I'm critical about my matte shadows, so I was a little worried I wasn't going to like this formula. I think I've also finally gotten to a place where, and I don't want to scare anybody or, you know, again, sound morbid or whatever, but I think I've finally gotten to a place where if there is something really serious going on and my time is limited, I'll just put it that way. Not that I'll be okay with it, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to handle that kind of news in August. I honestly would have a complete nervous breakdown, because I was having a nervous breakdown anyway. So I'm just very, very grateful that I'm in a much better headspace now, especially given the fact that I've got this testing coming up and I may get not so good news, but, you know, all I know is I'm going to try to make the best out of the time I have, however long that may be. You know, maybe this test comes back fine and I'm in the clear and everything's, you know, good to go after that. Or maybe it doesn't, and maybe I've got some shit to work through. But if that's the case, I'm in a place now where I feel like I can mentally sit with that and just take each day and try to be grateful for the time I have and, you know, for my family and everything else. So it's just been really rough getting to this point. Extremely, difficult. Some people aren't scared of death. Some people don't obsess over it, and I'm somebody that definitely used to obsess over it and was terrified at that prospect. Now, obviously, I want everything to come back okay. I want to be on the up and up and have these procedures and start feeling better, but I think I've always kind of hung on to that. Like, I just want to start feeling better. I just can't wait until I start feeling better, but I kind of have to come to terms with the fact that this might be the best I will feel. You know, like there might not be a feeling better moving forward. It might actually get worse. So I really need to stop with the expectations and just be happy that I'm here and, again, enjoy the time that I have. So, God, that sounds really depressing. Like, I don't mean to be depressing, but you just never know what's going to happen, and I don't know. I think I'm trying to prepare myself for the worst because I know how bad I've felt over the last 3 years, and there's got to be a reasonable explanation for that. You know, it just didn't come out of nowhere, and then I find out all these little things. There's got to be a reasonable explanation for me feeling like I'm dying. That purple is on fire. Wow, I love that. I'm really hoping it doesn't stain because I have to go to work tomorrow. And I've been working and stuff ever since I went back from medical leave, and work just takes literally all of my energy. When I'm at work, I try to act as if nothing is bothering me, and I try to just carry on like everything's fine. Some days are harder than others, you know, but thankfully, and I'm gonna knock on wood real quick, thankfully, with my stomach, it hasn't been as bad since I've gotten back. I mean, I've had little spurts, but it hasn't gotten as bad as it was before I left, because, oh my God. It was to the point where I was going to the bathroom every 10 minutes. Like, seriously, I couldn't get out of the bathroom. So, thankfully, it's not to that degree. I still have issues. I still have days that are really freaking rough, but not as bad as that. So, I'm just really hoping it doesn't get back to that point. I think I've finally, for the most part, I've eliminated stuff from my diet that I know aggravates my stomach. Oh, I shouldn't even say stomach, that aggravates my digestive system. And I try to eat stuff that I know will make it feel better. I know, real scientific. So that's been super helpful. Every now and again, I get cocky because I start feeling a little bit better, and then I regret it dreadfully afterwards. Okay, I cannot wait to use this multi-chrome. Look, the one next to it's just as beautiful. The one next to it's called Linda. Like, Linda? What? She's pretty too. But I want to play with Selena. So, I'm going to just slap that all over my lid now. God, look at that. Holy cow. Like, that's what dreams are made of, y'all. Okay. Like, multi-chromes just make me happy. They do. Can't help it. Especially the purple ones and the blinding purple ones. So beautiful. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Look how beautiful that is. Yes, indeed. Every time I do this, I tell myself I need to do it more because it makes me so happy. And then I don't. Because I'm too tired. But this does something good for my soul. Anyhow, moving on from all that, I know I've got like one eyeball left and I'm just now getting past the health shit, so not to be dark and like morbid throughout this whole video, but I don't know, I just came to some really important realizations over the last couple months, and especially with buying makeup, you know, not only have I had outrageous doctor's bills, and I mean, one freaking test alone was almost $600, so not only have I had to deal with that, which has been super expensive, but I'm just prioritizing my time and money a little bit better now. And you know, before, I was like obsessed with buying makeup, and that was like a coping mechanism. I need to get in the middle here. Purchasing makeup was a coping mechanism for me, and whenever I was having a really rough time, I would scroll and I would buy new makeup, and definitely think I had like a shopping addiction. And you know, sometimes the makeup bug bites me and then I want to buy makeup again, or I'll scroll for hours and think about buying it, but then I won't because I'm doing a lot better with it now. But that's a real thing, y'all. And I'm not saying everybody on here that has a makeup channel does that, okay? But I definitely did, and that's why I had so much stuff. But when I think about all the money that I've spent on makeup and beauty stuff, it just makes me feel a little out there, okay? And I'm not speaking for anybody but me. If you like doing that and it makes you happy, then you do you, and you won't get any judgment from me. I'm just speaking purely for myself when I say I don't need that much makeup. I mean, I love having a variety and a selection, and I love rotating between my products, and I love opening my drawers and staring at everything. Like, I know as silly as that sounds, I like all that. But at the same time, I know it's not a necessity. And again, putting everything into perspective here lately, it makes me realize what's super important and what's not. And makeup falls pretty low on that list of priorities. So I've just not been spending a whole lot of money on it. And, you know, this year, I, no matter what, want to take my kids on a vacation. I didn't get to do it this year because I was so freaking sick, you know, physically and mentally, and I didn't get to go. I was on my medical leave. I had to cancel our vacation, which fucking sucked. So this year, nothing is going to get in the way of that. We are going somewhere. So it makes filming a little difficult, especially when you're not buying a bunch of new makeup. And, you know, here I've noticed lately, a lot of my subscriber base is coming from like my declutter videos or my collection videos. You can only show those things so many times. So I don't know exactly where I want this channel to go yet, but that's not been like a priority. Figuring that out, I haven't really worried too much about that for the time being. I'm just gonna upload when I feel like it, and when I have something I think that's worth uploading, and then when I don't, I won't, you know? The biggest piece of that is I just miss you guys when I'm not uploading. We had planned on getting another cat. My kids' dad and her stepfamily or whatever, they had kittens, and we were going to take one of them, but then my cats got fleas, and I didn't want to bring any more cats here until the flea problem was gone. And the flea problem is still not gone. And it's driving me absolutely bananas because we've never had a flea problem before. But they're really hard to get rid of, you know. But I love my cats so much. Like, they're truly like service animals to me. And I would love nothing more than to bring another Kiki into my household. I'm telling you, I'm going to be the cat lady when I get older. Honestly, it's pretty wild how much my state of mind has changed over the past couple months. I was Googling symptoms every day. I was Googling medical conditions every day. I know this sounds totally out there, but I'm just being totally open and transparent because I know I'm not alone in that. I know that there's plenty of other people out there that suffer with the same type of stuff and deal with anxiety and medical issues and whatever, but it was really freaking bad. And my advice to anybody dealing with stuff like that is don't. Put the phone down, quit Googling, quit researching. I mean, unless, I don't want to say quit researching, because you do have to be your biggest advocate, and it's definitely helped me in some ways too, but not to the degree that I was doing it, to a very unhealthy, obsessive degree. There's people that joke about that all the time, that they Google something, all of a sudden they have cancer, or they're having a heart attack, or whatever. So, anyway, I love this. I think that is so pretty. Other than that, there's really not much else going on in my life. I mean, I'm just trying to take better care of my body, and you know, when I'm not working, just be here with the kids, and whether that means giving them rides places or talking to them or whatever. Like, we don't go out and do a bunch of fancy stuff all the time because I don't have money for that. But just spending time with them, I think, is most important, and realizing that time is valuable, you know? That's something you never get back. That's what's been going on in my life, guys. How about you all? I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. This video was in no way me trying to gain sympathy or make people feel bad for me. That is definitely not what I want. I just want to share things. You all are my friends in my community, and it's been a hell of a ride, you know, and I wanted to just be open with you all about it on some of the struggles I'm facing and be there for each other, you know. I'm trying to make a better effort of doing my makeup before work. Like, I already do my base makeup and stuff, but like doing eyeshadow, especially with me not filming as much. Otherwise, like, I got all this eyeshadow that's doing what? Sitting around expiring? That's not smart. Look at that. Can you all see how beautiful that is? Like, what? I don't know if it's shifting for you all. See it? Look at that. See, that makes me happy. I can't help it. I'm simple. Debating on whether or not... That cat is going crazy in the bathroom. Anyway, I'm debating on whether or not I want to add one of these really beautiful sparklies. I do. We're going to add some of Maya. This really pretty, sparkly, like, rose gold shade. We're going to add that to the inner corner. Why not? I didn't do any under eye work. I just... Again, this wasn't supposed to be an elaborate eye look. It's just supposed to be something thrown together really quickly so I can chat with you all a little bit. And it still took me hours. I'm a little worried about it getting in my eye, but we're going to try. Oh, it's so pretty, though. These shades are just a little flaky, which is not a texture I'm used to from Adept. Not that I don't like it, it's just different. Oh, it is really flaky. Sparkly. Look at that. It's like so flaky it's hard to pick up on a brush. Oh, that's too much. It's almost like glitter. Wow, I didn't mean for all that to happen. That's a lot. Wow. Okay. I kind of wish I hadn't done that, because now it looks a little out there. Okay, we're going to stop right there. Should I bother with lip gloss? I think I'm just going to throw like a regular lip gloss on. I love the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bombs. They smell so good. This one is in Fussy. Old school. Look at them juicy lips. Okay, that's going to wrap up this video. Just chatting, catching up a little bit, creating a fun, loud, sparkly, shiny, shifty look. I love it, and I enjoyed having a good time chatting with you all and playing. I miss playing, so hopefully I have time to do that more in the future. Again, let me know down below what you'd like to see from me going forward, since I won't be filming a lot of new makeup videos. And let me know what's going on in your all's lives. Let's have a conversation. I love hearing from you. I love just knowing that you're still watching. I've had people tell me before that, you know, I don't always comment, but I'm still here. I'm still watching. Let me know down below if you're one of those people. I miss you all. You know, I miss chatting with you. So thanks again for watching. If you've made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed yet, check out some of my other videos. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye.